when I was younger, when I was 12, 13, a lot of my friends were out skateboarding or snakeboarding back in the day. And I was always at home making home movies.
Right, okay.
So from a young age, I've always loved making film and being on film. So I did that throughout, my teen years. And then I never really took it seriously. I always knew I wanted to do it, but I never thought it was actually achievable. And then roll on to me being about 35. And my partner Shannon, we're watching TV, and she says to me, "You're on your deathbed, right? And you look back at your life, what is the one thing you regret not doing?"
Yeah.
And I said, acting. Because I've just always had a passion for it. I love movie, I love TV, I love everything about it. So I contacted Gene, who we were friends on Facebook.
Okay.
And I basically asked him what I could do to get started. And he gave me a few things. He said, go and do some auditions in Guernsey because it's quite a cutthroat industry. You might get turned away and you don't want to do it anymore. So I said, okay. So I went off and did that. I ended up getting an audition over here for a movie. And I didn't know what to expect because it was my first ever audition. I'd never done anything else apart from at my home.
Yeah.
And I managed to get a couple of callbacks. In the end, I didn't get the part, but it was a good experience for me. So I contacted Gene again and I said, just so you know, all of your advice really helped me.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. And he said, I'm sorry you didn't get the part, but keep going. And I think it was about a month later, I'd seen on Facebook that he was asking for actors in the UK, to which I messaged him and said, I'd be happy to come and audition if you'd have me. He said, right, okay, come to London in a month's time and we'll see what you've got.
So, and this was earlier this year, or was this last?
This would have been around November last year. So I did. I flew out to London with very low expectations because it's very different doing something here. In an island you've grown up
being
in,
comfortable and
you're comfortable and I was going over there with people who've been in the industry for a long time, and I'd known a lot of them had worked with big names and medium names and stuff like that. So I went over. I met them in the audition room. It was really nice to see Gene again. I hadn't seen him since we were probably 5 or 6 maybe. And I did my part, did my audition. And he said, how do you think that went? And I said, well, I'm not sure because I've never done this before, but I feel like I remembered my lines. I did everything I wanted to do. So I'm sat on the plane and I'm thinking, no, I don't think I've done enough there.
Yeah.
And I got home and then Gene messaged me the next day to say, hope you got home okay, hope the flight was good, thank you for coming to London, it was nice to see you.
Yeah.
And then the message ended and I was like, oh no. And then a couple of days later, I'm sat at home and he said, are you free for a phone call? So I thought, right, here it comes. And he phoned me and said, right, first of all, I want to thank you for coming over. And congratulations, you got the role. He said, you were brilliant. And I mean, by then I was like, I'm air guitaring in the lounge. I was really excited.
Just to go back, so you knew Gene when you were children, because he grew up in Guernsey, and you're from Guernsey, so you grew up here. Yes, yeah. What you're hoping to do now, so you said you were 35 and your partner said, basically do it.
Yeah, she just said, like, if you don't give it a go, you'll never know. Yeah. And you'll
regret it
yourself for the rest of your life. So I thought, right, let's give this a go. I'd not done any training like classes and stuff and so on and so forth. I mean, my grades at school weren't great, but the best grade I had in school was in drama. Okay. I always entered the talent contest. I've always been a show off. I've always been wanting to. I used to do skits on stage and stuff and stuff like that. It wasn't like it was brand new to me. It wasn't like I'm 30, I want to act. Yeah. I've always, as a young age, I was saying to Gene actually while I was over there, as much time as I spend watching movies, I also watch behind the scenes. I've watched about 1,000 hours of behind the scenes, and I just sit there, much like a kid would sit and watch a football game and think, that's what I want to do. I would just sit there and go, this is what I want to do. I mean, seeing performances like, Heath Ledger's The Joker, Training Day with anything that Denzel Washington's done, it inspires me to, I want to do that. I want to be in something that makes people, that just entertains people. Yeah.
But what have you been doing in the meantime? What was your chosen career then that you took whilst wanting to get into acting?
I've done a few things actually. Yeah. One of which I had my own cleaning business, but COVID kind of shut that down as it did for probably a lot of people. I worked at B&Q and I also worked at Bailiwick Garden Centre.
So now, is this going to be your full-time focus then?
It's what I want to do. Yep. It's what I get the most joy out of doing. other than being with family and friends. Like when I'm on set or when I'm around, even, I mean, when we're over here, I've done little things over here with different people. And the second I'm with everyone that are in the same mindset as me, they want to perform, they want to act. It just brings me alive, and I've got so much. I mean, probably too much energy for a lot of people, but I am just the second we do any table reads, anything like that, that's when I'm alive, and so this is what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Back to when Jean phoned you to say congratulations, you're in. What happens next? How quickly do things start moving?
It was quite quick. So he said to me, "You're in. We're going to send you a contract." And so I'm writing stuff down. I've got the part, and I remember I just got off the phone to Jean, and Shannon walked in, and I told her, and she like her reaction was just, I'll never forget it. She just like lit up, like in between crying and happy, which is what I felt like, in between crying and happiness. And it was all relatively kind of quick from there. He sent the contract. Then I was sent the script, which I got to read, and I was thinking, wow, this is phenomenal. This is so good.
Because your role is one of the officers, is that correct?
I do. I play a RASP agent who works for the Prime Minister. His name's Agent Mark, one of the Prime Minister's like special agents.
I mean, and how much kind of screen time do you get in it? Have you seen the final version of the film?
I have. I'm one of the many few who was lucky enough to see it. We went to Cannes, and Jean invited me, and that was probably just as exciting as getting the role. And he said, everyone that's coming to Cannes, we're all going to go watch it at Pinewood Studios in London. So I got to see it. I was really nervous because it's the first time you're going to see yourself. Screen time wise, the movie hasn't got a huge cast. And most of the movie is you're watching the lead character, Lauren Metcalf, who, might I please say now, everyone's talking about Kevin Spacey. And they have every right to, because the guy's phenomenal. He's had such an amazing career. He's been in so many things. But I've said this to Lauren, when the movie comes out, it's going to shift. I mean, Kevin's performance is phenomenal. He's great. But Lauren is the lesser known name, but she is on screen for the most of the time, and she holds the movie. Because
she's in a car, isn't she? And Kevin Spacey is a voice. Controlling the car. Obviously, I've got that from the trailers. Don't really know much else about the film because it's not out yet. But so Lauren Metcalf is the main character.
Yeah, she plays Stella Simmons. And she, I mean, for I'd say 85% of the movie, it's Lauren in a car. And as an actor, to have an audience attached to the screen for the entire time is a hard task, especially for someone who hasn't been, not a well-known name. But I've said to her, when this movie comes out, you will be a well-known name, because she did a phenomenal job, like such a phenomenal job. It was a joy to work with her for a little over a week.
So how long were you involved in the kind of the filming process?
So I was there for a week. So there was 2 days where I was on screen, 2 days on set that I would be physically on screen as Agent Mark. But before production started, I had a phone call from Jean, who had said that he'd spoken to producers and stuff, and basically he wanted to hire me as the vocal stand-in for Kevin Spacey.
Right, okay.
So I said, right, okay. So he said, basically, we need someone to feed Kev's lines to Lauren on the day of filming. He said, I want it to be a human, because we need Lauren to have a human reaction, to bounce off of, and we're going to send it. I want you to learn it and try and do it as close to as what Kev does. And on the day you'll be with us, when we roll the camera, you will be playing Kev's voice, and so on and so forth. So I got to sit at home and just study Kevin Spacey's dialogue, which again taught me so much. So I originally was going to be there for 2 days of shooting, but doing Kev's being the vocal stand-in, I was there for a week.
And obviously when you were then listening at home to Kevin Spacey's recorded audio already, that would have been when his court cases were ongoing. So I'm guessing at that point you hadn't met him, but everyone knows who Kevin Spacey is. Everyone's seen Kevin Spacey in a film or a production of some sort.
Yeah, sure.
So you're kind of standing in for this hugely successful actor, but who's going through a very challenging personal time. And as we now know, actually, we've got to say, haven't we? He's been cleared of all charges.
Yes, everything,
in both the UK and America, cleared of everything. So that must be such a challenging personal time for him. but he was still trying to keep his professional life kind of going as well.
It was one of those things, after I'd got my part, I then had Gene kind of broke it to all of us. We had a table read one night with Mark Hampton, who plays the Prime Minister, and all the people that have lines in the movie. So we had a table read, and it was at that table read that Gene told us all that Kevin Spacey was going to be in it.
Right, okay.
And at the time, he'd been cleared of absolutely everything. So it was Kevin Spacey's kind of first production after the whole kind of set of allegations. And it was only about a week later when I did a interview over here. Me and Gene went on the radio at the same time. And the night before was the second set of allegations.
Right, okay.
So I mean, I'd already been studying all this stuff and so on and so forth. But I think it was quite clear early on, from what I know, that they knew the outcome was going to be. I think it was a really brilliant choice by Gene to cast Kev.
It was that trust and faith that he put in Kevin.
Absolutely.
And I mean, obviously the statement he issued after Kevin was cleared of all the charges in the UK recently, I think Gene should be very proud of himself for having that faith in somebody else, and it's paid off.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, Gene had a lot of faith in Kev, but also Kev had a lot of faith in Gene, because the movie was an indie movie. It was Kevin's used to doing these big Hollywood movies, so I think they both put their faith in each other, and I think the outcome of the movie has made Kevin, so proud that he's done it, and the outcome of Kev's trial has just, like you said, personified that Gene and his team absolutely made the right choice, and I like the fact that I get to be a part of that, a small part, will live with me for the rest of my life.
Back to the film then, so you've seen it, and it's out in December.
Yes.
I mean, that must be so exciting just to think. I mean, are you planning on going to watch it with family, friends, or just going to let them watch it and then feedback?
I was saying, if it comes over here, which it will, I believe it will. I mean, Gene, the director's originally from Guernsey. I have a part in it, so I think it would be nice to, but part of me just wants to go and just sit at the back and watch everyone's reaction to it. People that don't know me and don't know that I'm in it. I said to Shannon, I just want to see, because it really is a great movie. I went into the movie thinking, well, I've seen this entire thing being shot. I know everything that happens. I know this, I know that, which I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
So I was expecting to enjoy it, but while I was there, it was brilliant. Shannon said to me, how was it? I said, it was fantastic.
Was it better than you expected? I mean, you can see in your face that you loved it.
It wasn't better. I always knew that the movie was going to be good, again, because I saw it being made. But because obviously I'd learnt and studied Kev's dialogue, and, I knew what was coming next, I would have assumed that I was more for, when it's all together and it's edited and they've done, the film grain and the music and the effects, it just makes it a totally different movie.
Yeah.
And once I watched it and they turned it off, Gene did a speech and we all had a hug, I was straight on the phone to Shannon going, I cannot wait for you and for everyone that I know to see this movie, because it's brilliant. I love it. I really do.
So what's next?
So not long after, about a week after I'd come back, I'd agreed to do I play a small role in a local small movie over here, which was directed by a guy called Liam Kearney and Gaz Patworth. Filmed it. Dave Hyatt's in it, and a load of other people. A great actor over here called Brian Ferguson. So there's a movie called Lock, which is a short 10-minute movie which I did, and on set I met the director, which was a guy called Liam Kearney, and a week later he sent me a message asking me if I'd be the lead in a series that he'd written.
Right, okay.
So that's the next thing on the agenda.
So what kind of a series is this? Is this like another indie production?
Yeah, it's going to be locally shot and stuff like that. At first it was going to be like a short movie, but after he's been sat at home and deliberating, he's thinking, no, I want this to be maybe a couple part series, like a couple of episodes, which for me, absolutely, let's do it. It's going to be kind of a dark comedy. For me, I feel will naturally be more me. I'm more of a joker than I am a serious person, which is what I loved about my first role, was playing a very serious person. I'm an agent, whereas in real life I'm a little bit of a joker and stuff like that. So we've been talking and deliberating about getting the rest of the cast in, and then once we've done that, we will hopefully start rolling towards the end of the year.
And that will be filmed locally?
And that will be filmed locally. and have local actors and stuff.
And then anything else off island? Or is it just looking out for auditions, I guess?
At the minute, it's looking out for auditions. It's, again, I'm taking baby steps at the minute. I say baby steps. I've just appeared in a film with Kevin Spacey and Lauren Metcalf, which is, what was the saying? One small step for man. But for me, So there's a few things going on in the UK which I don't want to say can't say too much. There are things on the horizon, but there's nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just auditioning and doing what I can, doing things that kind of I feel, well, I'm right for this part, so I'll go for it. And just taking it step by step.
And are you doing that yourself then? I mean, I don't know how you would go about looking for auditions. Or are you going to be getting an agent to do that for you? How does it work?
So, again, I'm very new to the industry, especially in terms of in the UK and how things run over there. I kind of know how it works over here. Yeah. I've done a few things with Alex Bates, who's a young director over here, and he does some really, really good stuff. I'm kind of working with him at the moment on a film called Sands of Purgatory. But, so with regards to agents, I think it would be beneficial for me to have one, especially for UK stuff.
Yeah.
I met a really awesome girl on set who's in the movie. Her name's Era Farrell. She's just been in the Barbie movie.
Oh, right. Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I remember she was amazing and she was so cool. And I was there for a week, and I'd not been away from my family for a week before.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a little daughter called Grace who's Era's age. And like me and Era were like hanging out on set, and we had a really good time. And I was chatting to her mum, and her mum said, "Yeah, she's just filmed this movie with Margot Robbie."
Yeah,
and
which is now a huge success.
Which is now huge. And Shannon, my partner, went to Ireland with Grace a week ago, and they went to watch it, and she was, "Oh, my daddy met her," and stuff like that. And I was chatting to her mum, and her mum was lovely and said, "Look, there's the agency that Era's signed to.
Yeah.
I can give you their contact details, and I can put a good word in for you." So I've in the last couple of days done that. But it's just again trying to find the right thing for me as well, because I don't really have any intention of moving off of Guernsey.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that I can make what I want to achieve work by living here.
Yeah, definitely.
And island hopping when I need to.
It sounds like the industry is very much like who you know, which is obviously working for you, and it's making those contacts and networking and meeting different people and just seeing what happens.
You're right in an aspect of it is who you know. Like I was in the position I was because I contacted someone that I knew was doing it. I didn't know quite how successful Gene had been. Some of the stuff that the guys achieved, most people don't know about.
Yeah.
But it is, you were saying about the industry, it's definitely luck. A lot of the industry is luck. A lot of it is getting these opportunities like, okay, well, do you want to come to London and audition in front of a load of people who's been doing it for a while? I mean, he didn't say this. Who's been doing it for a while? You've not had a day experience in your life. And it was me going, I want to do this. I went, let's go for it. And went over there and just took every opportunity I could. Met loads of great people, things that I wouldn't have even thought of.
Yeah.
Good ways to, if you got a big script, he was teaching me ways to learn the lines and stuff like that. So every opportunity I had to kind of pinch a little bit of knowledge from everyone there that have all had different experiences, I took, and I stored them in here for my own hopeful, gain in the future. Everyone was just so lovely, and it was really sad at the end of it. But the fact that this amazing thing that I was experiencing for the first time was kind of coming to an end. Everyone was great, and my last thing I'll say was it was a very daunting experience going away from home and doing this around people I'd never known and people that have been in the industry. And Gene was nothing but professional. He just put me at ease. I'll always remember this. Before I did my first scene on camera, Gene was putting out fires all over the shop. He was the director, and just before we shot it, he came out to the hallway. He's got a million, and he looked at me and he straightened my top and he went, right, let's do this. And then we did my first scene, and then afterwards the cinematographers went off, and it was just me and him in the hallway, and he went, congratulations mate, you're an actor. That was brilliant. So he made me feel very special in that. Like, little moment, just me and him in the hallway. I'll always remember that.
And hopefully there'll be more of those then as you go on. Absolutely, because it's those little moments, isn't it, that make everything worth it.
Yes. I was nervous. I won't say what I was doing, but I didn't have a lot to do in my first scene. It was probably the easiest things I had to do on set while I was there. But it was just the way we did it, and people went off.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was in demand. Everyone wanted to talk to him, all the extras and stuff like that. Just me and him, and he just, after we did the shot, he went, brilliant, mate. Congratulations, you're an actor.
Thank you for listening to The Interview, a Bailiwick Express podcast. If you liked what you heard, please like and subscribe. You can find us on all social media channels, and if you'd like to keep up to date on all the work the Express team does, please sign up to our daily email by visiting gsy.bailiwickexpress.com.